going to be a bumpy night.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Laugh Bunker podcast. Glad to be back. It is, what's today's date? It is September 4th. It's a Friday afternoon, around 4 p.m. And we got a brand new episode. It's episode 14. And how are you doing, Paul? How's everything?
Excellent. What are you doing? It's Labor Day weekend. What are you doing for Labor Day?
I got nothing planned. Nothing. I don't know. For a whole lot of nothing, which I'm happy to do. I don't know. We got some fights tomorrow, maybe some barbecue. I don't know. We'll see.
Growing up.
Yeah.
What did you do for Labor Day when you grew up? Did you do anything?
No, you know what? No, maybe we went on a vacation here and there, like a quick Vegas trip or Utah or something like that, because I went to Utah this past weekend, which we'll get into, but I did that a few times as a kid, but nothing. It was never a thing that we made sure that we planned something around. It was, everybody had an extended weekend, so we usually did something, but no.
So another question. You grew up in LA here. Do you know people that either Memorial Day or Labor Day were like, okay, the big barbecue, people coming over growing up? Or do you know anybody now who does that?
My stepfather, who came in to my life probably like later on, like towards the end of high school. Mm-hmm. Who else? No. Honestly, it was never really a big thing. I've had service members in my family and my uncles and all that, but it was never something that they made it a point to do.
Would that go along with the Hispanic culture, maybe? Or do you think in LA, or do you think it's generational because I being older?
It might be
more intense.
It might be a generational thing. Okay. I think,
right.
and also depends on the family. Because if your family is very big pro-military, obviously every holiday is going to be.
Okay, that would be for Memorial Day, but for Labor Day, it was probably everybody's break before going back to school, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Party before having to buckle down and give it all for the man.
And so that's why I can only say that maybe we went on a couple of trips as a young kid. That's about it. So there's never a big thing. But for you, was it a big thing?
Growing up in Detroit,
mm-hmm.
Automotive city of the world.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hoffa Union. Labor Day was pretty massive, and so
definitely, it's a completely different world for me then.
It was always, and it was in the 60s, so going to parks was really huge. Yeah. So we always went to the park, and early in the morning, freezing, or it was cold or whatever, and I remember Dunkin' Donuts was the best part of the morning. We played all day. The barbecue. The barbecue was, it was always hot dogs, or for the kids, or hamburgers. I always chose hot dogs. So it was really big, and it was always the families together. And what struck me is when I moved to LA. Okay, so I grew up in Detroit, but then I moved to living in Chicago.
Yeah.
Now Chicago is even more because of the population and the structure of buildings. Detroit, I grew up in the suburbs, individual houses, but in Chicago, it's all condos. It's all, like Philadelphia, stacked one another with fenced off areas in the back. So there were a lot of, at the time we were involved with the church in Chicago, my wife and I, of course, it was massive amount of barbecue and whatever. And we lived very close to Lakeshore Drive and the whole lakefront. So a quarter mile away was a 16-mile park right on the ocean, right on the lake there, Michigan. So we were always down there. But it was really interesting because after living in LA, I went back and I had a friend who wanted me to marry them. So I actually got my reverend certification.
Cool.
And the wedding was on the condo high rise next to the water tower on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, overlooking the lake.
Yeah.
It was it was a crazy situation. Helicopters came down. It was just like the weirdest thing. But anyway, so for the bachelor party,
Uh-huh.
The night before, we went to his house and his dad barbecued. But they had,
Yeah.
and everyone was in the yard, and you're
Yeah.
sitting off the alley. Okay, so you're sitting off the alley. Everything was like, it's a big, it's called six flats. So 3 apartments or condos, 3 apartment and condos on each side, 3 stories tall.
Okay.
Everything has a wooden back porch because those are the fire escapes. And they're built in knots so that if they start on fire, they fall apart. And that was based off a big ass party on the south side of Chicago where people were having keggers on the old style porches and they collapsed. And 60 some people were killed. Crushed by kegs of beer. And it obviously wasn't light beer. So, we're sitting at the wedding. And we're sitting in the backyard, and everyone's hanging out, and they had a kegger there, and people are talking, and there was just a line of food, and like the guys were all in the backyard, and it's just blue collar. It was very interesting, and it's the only thing that I can relegate as being close to LA is going to Ramon's garage. Okay. You know what I mean? Even his separate culture, there's this weird. He has the ultimate man garage. If he ever comes back from Lake Chapala, you're going to go there because it's just killer. But anyway, but to do that, when I moved to LA, I have not been to anything like that because in September it's 109 degrees. And in Chicago, it's not too bad. It might be humid, but you're not. You can't go outside. It's 110 at my house tomorrow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty bad this weekend. I heard. I just came back I spent a day in Vegas, and I hear Vegas is going to be around the 116, 120 between that range. It's going to be what 109.
Yeah.
What did you say? 109. Yeah, it's going to be like that this weekend.
110 in Sierra Madre.
Yeah.
Which is a few miles from my house, but yeah, here in Pasadena we're at 109, which is staggering. So when you last thing,
it's going to be a heat wave.
So okay, so you went to Zion last week.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good. We took off last Friday morning, and then it took about 6.5 hours to get there.
Did you take a stop?
We did. We stopped over in State Line over by Nevada, and then we kind of drove straight through Vegas. Didn't really stop in Vegas other than to put gas, and then off to Arizona, and then passed through Arizona into Utah and to Zion. So it was nice. Really, the drive wasn't too bad. Quite a few of us went. I would say 1, 2, 3. With my son involved. Also, it was probably like 9 of us.
Did you go to where did you stay?
There's this lodge. So all the lodges around there, they all kind of look the same, but for the most part, they're all designed very much the same. So even the Marriott ones look very similar. I stayed out the Majestic View Lodge. It's one of the first ones you run into before you get to the park. It's before you get to like.
How far from the entrance?
Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
We stayed at a place with my daughter and I.
Yeah.
So if you were heading in, it was on the right-hand side, and it was literally 1/4 mile, so maybe 2 or 3 minutes from the gate. It had a big animals and all kinds of stuff in the back, like almost a farm. But
that sounds familiar. Ours had like this. We sit in like the rooms across the street on the right-hand side, but the main part of the hotel is on the left. And
no, I think ours was all on the right, to be honest.
And
I don't remember.
Ours had this little museum, taxidermy kind of like wildlife museum.
So that's where the animals went from mine after they were killed. It's almost like it's pretty satanic.
They have a sign there that says that everything here is for sale.
That's a hell of a deal.
Yeah, I know.
You can stay here and pet them, or you can take them home.
Yeah. the only price they had on one of the items was this like rug of a cougar, and it was like like a full on rug was splayed out like,
Mm-hmm.
and it was around $5,000, I think. $5,000 for the rug. So I'm wondering,
Well,
I
so
wonder how the other ones are, because the other ones are just display animals, like you would see at like a natural history museum type of thing situation. So I'm not sure how much those are.
did is that the first time you went to Zion?
Yeah, yeah. It's not the first time I've been to Utah. I went to Salt Lake a few times as a kid. We had a family member who lived there, but I hadn't been back since
Have you
maybe
been to Colorado?
no, never been to
It's
Colorado.
interesting. So climbing, and I always came from Chicago, either
Yeah,
driving or flying.
yeah,
And so when my daughter went to school, university in Denver, we drove. And
yeah,
what's interesting is you need to drive from LA to Denver because in Utah the mountains are huge, but they're away.
yeah.
And once you pass getting into almost near Glenwood Springs on the 70, the mountains in Colorado are like right over your head. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
like from a great expanse
Yeah,
to, and really Glenwood Springs, that first area that's really big after Durango in Colorado. If you go south from there, that's where
yeah.
Aspen is.
Okay.
It's my favorite place in America. I mean, it's my favorite part of Colorado for
Yeah.
sure. Um,
How is Colorado? Like the state or the cities in there, like Boulder,
well, Boulder is, well, okay, we went, it's
Denver,
interesting.
any of those
I'm,
places.
everything is connected, like we always say. So the
Okay.
gentleman, Spike Davis, Tim
Yeah,
Spike Davis, who did our logo,
yeah,
who just put out a book of his comics.
yeah.
He's
Nice.
from Boulder. He was kind of my. It's a long story, but anyway, we had some crazy adventures. His
Uh,
parents um, suggested that when Cynthia and I got married, that we stay in a cabin up in Colorado, up
yeah,
on the divide. So we went out there in '87. They gave us a hippie, Volkswagen bus van
yeah,
type
yeah,
of thing. We went up the mountains. The truth is, we wouldn't be talking about Zion. I wouldn't be in Yosemite. I wouldn't be have climbed mountains, and I wouldn't be back hiking again if it wasn't for Spike and his parents. But
hmm,
back in the '80s, it was a different. It was before the tech age when all the
yeah,
money came. It was more hippie-ish, but it was also a lot of your Ironman people, your Olympic athletes were training at altitude. It's
okay,
obviously the climbing. We stayed literally, we stayed up in the mountains, but we hung out on the hill by the University of Colorado at this
yeah,
bar that I hung out again when I went to see my daughter like 25 years later. It's still
yeah.
there. So it's different.
How's the
And I
culture
guess
there though? Because
it's expensive, and truth is, I guess what my friends who live there tell me
yeah,
that there's been a huge influx of people from Colorado to
or
Colorado,
California.
uh,
Yeah,
from California.
yeah.
So it is expensive in the cities.
The
Um,
popular cities, right? Like Denver
yeah,
and Boulder and like all these other
but
places.
I'll tell you what, it's just a spectacular. And
Yeah,
when we climbed, we didn't go. I mean, we lived out of cars. I mean, what I like about Colorado, in California, like, look, we were talking about Yosemite.
yeah,
Going to Zion with you, you got to get these permits, whatever. In Colorado, you just pull off the side of the road and you just head up into the mountains.
yeah,
I think I paid 2 entrance fees in 10 years, and they were both for the Rocky Mountain National Park. That was it,
yeah.
because it's all free.
Yeah, not
And
not 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 in Utah at least. I know they have like
no, and I've never
11,
been in the outdoors in Utah, just seen it. And
11 national parks, I guess they have within the state. Much of the state is not necessarily developed. It's very rural, very
oh
like
yeah,
one house here, one house way over there. It was a pretty cool experience. I mean, but yeah, they do charge you to get into some of these parks, like Bryce Canyon Park,
oh well, yeah,
Bryce.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so in Zion, yeah, I expect that,
Yeah,
but in Colorado, you just backdoor it.
you just get
So
in
in other
there.
words, there's always a way to
Yeah,
get around, and it's a great lifestyle.
yeah.
I like Colorado. I spent many years up and down there. Even my wife and I backpacked there.
Because I'm
Uh,
curious to see. I'm curious. That's a place that I've been, I don't know, curious about. Because I've heard so many either good things about it. I hear always a lot of good things about Colorado and just the
I
state, and
think
then
my
like a lot of
nephew
things.
is going to take a job. He's
Uh,
a geology major, loves the outdoors. In fact, after his senior year, him and his friends lived out. I sent him all this camping gear, but they
yeah,
lived out of a car for about 3 or 4 weeks, just driving to all the parks.
yeah.
But he got a scholarship for biochem, or no,
Mm.
sorry, genetic engineering.
Okay.
Okay, so but he got on the outdoors and now he switched over to geology. And there's only about 3 states you work in geology. I think New
Yeah.
Mexico, Arizona,
Is
and
it is it
Colorado.
is it conservative over there? Because like
Where?
I would say in Colorado, in the state, most of the state, is
No,
it,
I would
or is
have
it
to say
very
it's more no. I
no?
think
Huh?
when you look at their politics, it's very democratic.
It is, all right, because
Well,
they're
you're talking about two different types of people there. You're
yeah,
talking about the original type. I mean, not just of course, the Native American, but more Colorado. When I grew up in Detroit, that was like the mountains. That was the Rocky Mountain High. That was
yeah,
John
yeah.
Denver. That was the hippies, or at least that's what we thought of it.
Okay,
Growing
okay.
up in conservative Detroit, going there now, West Michigan, where my family, my mom and sister live. Yeah, that's very conservative, very Dutch based. But
Yeah,
Colorado, more. I mean, weren't they didn't they legalize marijuana before?
yeah. That's what
I
I'm saying
mean,
because that
recreational before
because
California, correct?
location wise, some of the states in around there, a lot of the politics wise, very conservative, and some of the
Well,
people there.
obviously Utah. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
that's I mean,
so
because
going
it's
to
movement based, so that would make significance in
and
the decision making.
and that's why Colorado kind of always stood out to me because where it's located and their politics of how they're legalizing a lot of stuff, and I never really hear a lot
Well,
of
there's
bad
a
things
lot
about
of
it.
nuclear weapon missile silos in Colorado. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess they're carrying the big stick. You know what I mean?
yeah.
If they go rogue, they pretty much own the rest of the country. But
Just a
no,
curious place to me. I don't know.
you
Always,
know what?
always,
You watch TV.
yeah,
One thing Moses is learning that I meet a lot of crazy people because I talk
yeah.
to everybody on the trail, whatever. But you know what? I got to tell you, 99% of my time of traveling in this country, I never run into assholes. I don't see the
Yeah,
idiots on TV ever of any race. People
yeah.
in the real world, not on TV,
Don't live like that. Yeah.
they want to have a
Well,
good time.
nowadays, especially with social media, it's like it's yeah. I think
The
it
coolest people I've
yeah.
met has been on the road. I don't care
People
if it
don't
was
live
in
like people don't live
Chicago.
like they do in social media. Or the world doesn't exist the same way.
Everything is manipulated
Yep.
for $1.
Yeah.
That's a fact. But on the road, I remember. Well, I'll tell you what. One time, my friend Kurt, who I climbed with for years, he's a genius.
Yeah.
He did the flight plan for Mars Surveyor project on paper. Okay, he's
Rocket
a
scientist.
firefighter now.
Yeah.
Well, his dad is one of the scientists that took IBM from the analog into the digital age. His
Okay.
two sisters are engineers.
Okay. So it runs in the
He's
family.
he's not a he was the stupidest roofer I ever worked with, but he was a cool guy. He also was in the service during their first Iraq.
Okay.
Phenomenal human being. But now I forget what I was going to tell you about him.
You had a story. Something that it.
Now I forget. See, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
climbed for years. I don't know why I'm telling you this story. Like, I can't remember. What were we talking
Something
about?
about Colorado. We're talking about Colorado. We're talking
Oh,
about
well, okay. Check this out.
the same missile
The
silos. I
small
remember we said
world.
that.
He went to the same church as Spike. I met Kurt
Oh,
through Spike.
okay.
Me and Kurt climbed for years. He's now a firefighter. So he
Okay.
gave it all up to be a firefighter, probably one of the more smarter fighter fighters in the world. He lives in Denver. He grew up in Boulder.
Okay.
So he's the one. Okay, so there used to be a road low, and I don't know if it's a 25 or whatever, but there was nothing from there up to the Flatirons. Now it's solid tech. That
Yeah.
has no significance
Oh,
to our
okay.
conversation of what we're talking about.
So
But
a lot of tech companies moved over there then, huh?
oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it like kind of like up in San Francisco area? Is it very much like that where it's just like a big
Well,
tech
okay,
tech
so
city?
you've got Lockheed Martin.
Okay.
30 miles from there. Lockheed Martin was involved in a lot of, they're and NASA and military also. So he worked with them. But now I can't. Anyway, we climbed for years. He's a good guy. Met him in Chicago. Not the smart. As a roofer, one time he threw a mop off a roof, and it went through a skylight. And it was a place that was painting high-end cars, like Ferrari. And we went down, and it was dripping all over. And this guy who was running it, he looked like Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
He cussed us out. He said, "You guys are a bunch of blankety blank," and we're like, "Yes, we're that. We're that too." I thought he was going to kill us, but anyway, Kurt went to the service. He got his GI Bill. Went to Iraq. Climbed for him for years. Lives in Denver, and he can barely afford to live downtown because of all the influx of people.
Oh, for big tech, yeah. So
I still don't know why I'm talking about Kurt. Trying to back somehow, but anyway,
talking about Colorado. He lives over there. He knows
Colorado. Okay. So my dream always was to live in Puerto Escondido, Oaxaca, in the winters, surf all winter, because my wife and I used to spend winters down there. It was just killer, just phenomenal, and then spend my summers in Aspen. And what I love about Aspen is there's only two places in the world that remind me of Aspen. Aspen and Gold's Gym at Venice Beach. And the reason I say that is no one cares who you are because everybody's. So in other words, when you're in Aspen, the people living out of their vans are drinking in the bars with the richest people in the world. No one cares because it's all about the mountain. And I love that community. But we were talking about on the road, that's the kind of people you meet. America is not the people on TV.
No,
I don't know any of those people. I honestly,
not the people on Twitter. Yeah, I don't.
No.
Yeah.
Hey man, if you're on Twitter all the time, you should probably get off the couch and put down the bag of Doritos and maybe do something. So, but anyway,
when I think of Aspen, I think of Dumb and Dumber. That's what I usually think of Aspen.
That's funny because Jeff Daniels got his career start in Terms of Endearment, one of the movies that we both have been watching lately. Jeff Daniels was from Michigan. Okay. He's a big stage guy in New York. All these people from New York. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay. So let me
what have you been watching?
Wait, one question about Zion.
Yeah.
Wasn't it phenomenal when you pull up to the gate and you're like, what the hell? And you make one bend in this park and it seems to open up.
It opens up. Yeah.
And you're like, holy, that's how Yosemite, have you been, that's how it was for me. Okay. Yeah. So it unfolds. And you're like, where was this a quarter mile back?
I know. Yeah. Did you go through the tunnel?
Yes.
Yeah.
I took the shuttle one day. My daughter and I, we did every shuttle route. And then the next day, she stayed in the hotel. And I went up and did I think it's either Angel's Fall or Angel's Landing.
Angel's Landing,
It's a badass hike.
That's what I hear. Yeah. It was, a lot of the trails were, okay, so I guess there's some algae that's growing in, like, the river right now.
In there, then, maybe? Did they have this problem?
Yeah, so they didn't recommend people kind of like, it's definitely not, don't ingest the water or get it near your mouth area. Because
ingest the water.
Yeah.
Really, so
some of the trails were closed because of that, but not really. You can still do the Angel's Landing thing, but it's a big hike. The shuttles were running. Running indoor dining.
Seating on the shuttles or anything?
Huh? No.
No, really?
No.
How about that?
People, when you're indoors or shopping, when you're in the shuttle, yes, you wear the mask. But you know what? Not everybody. They're not very strict, huh?
Would you go back?
Yeah, I'll go back.
Go back without your son and do more hiking and see different things.
Yeah, because I can't do
How was that?
He's good. The carrier is good. Yeah, the carrier is fine. He just gets a little restless after an hour, but and I can't let him walk everywhere. So I'm limited to what I can do because I have him, but it was still fun. And some of the trails were closed because of either a rock slide or the algae. But it's just not all the trails were open. One of the coolest things we did, honestly, was we did like the Sunset Jeep tour. So they pick you up over in it's right out of Zion. You go through the tunnel.
Where do
You
you pick it up at?
go onto the country road. It's in one of the pickups is at this this restaurant. It's on the plains over there in Utah. It's like this it's like a I don't know, like a farm slash resort in the hills slash like restaurant gift shop thing, and it's in the middle of the plains of Utah. So they pick you up there, they take you up into the mountains on the Jeep, and it's like this like off-roading Jeep tour thing, and you're in the back, and it's like this big open pickup area in the Jeep, and then you're driving up through it. It's like a big off-roading thing all the way up to the top. You watch the sunset go down, and you come back down. I know it was pretty cool, man.
How long was it?
How long was it? The whole thing probably a couple hours, from like going up there, hanging out for a bit.
What was the temperature when you were there?
Hot? No, probably in the 80s.
Think it's hot there this weekend?
Maybe. Yeah, you know what? Probably. We probably went at the best weekend because, yeah, I would assume so. But it wasn't bad at all. No.
Did they have the area cool like where I know Zion, I didn't go there, but I know they have the famous canyons where the stream is underneath the rocks. Was that open or closed, do you know? You know what I'm talking about, right? The canyons where the stream goes under. You have to put your backpack over your head and walk.
Oh, yeah. No, that wasn't closed off. No.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I like that. I'm going to tell you what, I would love to I always told my wife, wouldn't it be cool to just go to cool places in America, but be rich. So you just drive and hang out with the normal people and whatever, and party all over the place. But I need a break, so I'm not going to camp. I'll go stay in a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And get some laundry done and hang out. Yeah. But I from climbing for years, one time we did a trip all the way across America, living out of a Plymouth caravan. And we used to sneak into KOA, campgrounds. At night, but you couldn't sleep because you're freaking out, all the time that you're going to get busted. Yeah. But it was a great experience, and you meet so much. I mean, I get excited when people do things and get out of their house. And I'm telling you, young people, because when you get old, as you have children, as you know, it just changes the whole parameter.
It changes it, yeah.
You get out of even California, there's so many. We have spent the last 4 weeks on Mount Baldy. And we've seen everything. Different views, people, just phenomenal.
There's a lot of good.
Very blessed.
Especially this state, you can go up and down state, and there's so many different aspects to so many different types of communities, and like you go from the city into the plains to the country to the growing fields to another college town like San Luis Obispo. You could run into that place, go have some beer, go. They have really good restaurants.
We rode a bike from San Luis Obispo to Carmel.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s. Now my wife though, when she was younger, she rode a bike from San Francisco to LA.
Oh wow.
On Highway 1. And she said how tough it was. So when we're cycling in Southern California, it was like, this is sissy stuff. But our bikes were set up for our gearage was for racing on the flats of Chicago. So when we got it, that's when the hills really started getting. I remember we came out of San Luis Obispo and we're like, what's that shiny stuff in the sky? That was the road. That was cars. That was the reflection. And I mean, going up and down, if you're not used to hills, it's like hiking. If you're not used to it, it's rough. So, question, you would go back then to Zion?
Yeah, I would go back to Zion. So we went to Zion. We had dinner. We had stopped at some of the restaurants there, the cafes. Had some breakfast at some of the cafes. I enjoyed it, man.
What did you have for breakfast?
This one cafe, Soleil Cafe. They had these croissant breakfast sandwiches. I needed to go on the road with me if I'm driving. You know what I mean? So I need to have it mobile.
Okay, so take it past. If you were to go out and have breakfast, what would you order then? I mean, you're not in a rush. You're going to a good killer breakfast place. What are you eating? What'd you eat?
Probably like eggs Benedict or like
Isn't
something
that
like
treason?
that.
Wasn't he? Didn't he get killed for treason?
Yeah.
That's a weird choice, but anyway, good for you.
I would go back.
I don't eat that on Memorial Day, hopefully, but
Yeah.
every other day is probably fine.
No, it was I mean, it's a beautiful
I've never
area.
had that, by the way. I've
No?
never had it. No.
There's some spots out there like around this area that you could probably find something really. Especially there's a place in San Diego. I love going there. But yeah, no, I would go back to Zion. It's great, beautiful. They have the wildlife that just runs across the road sometimes, like the big rams and sheeps and all those, wherever the heck they are. A lot of deer. Head over to Bryce Canyon or that national park.
Oh, you went up there too?
Yeah, I went up there too. Very foresty and
I've never been there.
Yeah, that's a cool place. It's about an hour 30, hour 40 out from Zion. And yeah, you got to say this is just driving through that state and just seeing how people live and just how it's spread out everything is, and it's nothing out there. There's nothing. I don't know how people like do it really, but
you mean do it like where they buy stuff to live? You mean
like how to just to live out there, like especially if you're young or like I mean I can see retiring out there and maybe getting like a farm or something like that and living that kind of life, but man, it's the opportunity. I don't know. It's a different lifestyle that I don't know. We questioned every time we're going through there. Like, could you live like this? Could you be out here? Is it? I couldn't see it. It's too much. It's too little going on. Could you see yourself living in a situation in a place like that? I mean, you would obviously take advantage of the nature aspect of it, but and probably the growing operation in the fields over there.
No,
but,
I don't know. Okay, this is.
Start a business.
That's the interesting thing. I don't ever hike with people, and I take Moses, and I found Moses to be a good hiking partner.
Yeah.
And also, I'm bringing him along because if I die, I want him to drag my body out when we go hike at the end of the month. So it's a double barrel. I like being by myself. I'm very entertained in my own head. And so was every mentally ill person probably in the past. But
me too. But that's. Too much for me. I don't know.
There's something about the isolation out there that kind of freaks me out.
Yeah.
Because it's not. I mean, you're on road. You're driving. I mean, who's driving by these roads?
No,
you know what I mean.
There's no cops really.
No, there's nothing.
I'm like, and I'm thinking like, if you wanted to do some criminal activity, I don't know. This is if you wanted to have some criminal activity, drug run, there's the Bryce Airport is like this, basically like a barn with a field, like. There's no one stopping you. There's no one. I mean, you can do whatever you want. We didn't see one cop. Hey, let me
tell you what. There was a big. There was
3-hour drive. No one cop. Cop.
Yeah, and there was just a big article. I don't know if it was L.A. Times or New York Times or one of the major scholastic newspaper headlines I look at that said that more meth has come across.
Oh yeah.
Our border right now because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
They said since March to now, more meth has come across than all of last year in this 6 months. Because, so that makes total sense.
Yeah, and I was talking to my wife too. I was like, what kind of drug do you think is coming out of here? I told him meth for sure. I was like, it's a mountain town. Meth and methamphetamines are huge in mountain towns. You know what I'm saying? So.
Would you go back to Bryce Canyon?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. I would like to explore that even more because we went up there to kind of take pictures and kind of look around and eat, but we didn't get to spend that much time. We spent like half a day up there. You need at least a day or two because there's a lot of trails that you could go down. It's a lot more woodsy, forest. It's a big forest on a hill type of thing. Mm-hmm. Than with Zion. Zion's a lot more like mountain ranges, stuff like that. So
Zion has a huge climbing background too.
Yeah.
Question: now, how far is Moab up from Bryce? Because I know Moab is a pretty famous national park, but they're linked into the same. People say the same stuff. They say it. Have you been to Moab?
There's one. Spot. I think I passed Moab, or I've been around. I was around Moab. It's there. It's not that far away from Bryce. I can't,
Okay.
off my memory, I can't say exactly where it was, but there was a lot of, I remember signs saying Moab, and before you get to Bryce, there's those red rocks,
Yeah.
they're all stacked on top of each other, those type of things. Yeah, ranges, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Would it not be cool though to go see cool stuff, but do it in the off season when there's people? Like we hiked the other day. I always run into this guy on the trail, and Moses has talked to him twice.
Yeah.
This guy was one time big time Hollywood producer or something because he's kind of let off kind of things. I mean, he's been to Everest. He told me he spent a month in Kathmandu doing yoga. He also told me that in the 70s he was with the top actress staying at the Yosemite Lodge in the Kennedy Suite. Well, if you're staying in the Kennedy Suite at the Yosemite Lodge,
you're somebody.
He doesn't let on, and he has that old school
Hollywood,
like 60s, 70s look producer, and he knows climbing because he did do it. And I looked it up. He did a documentary on Jim and Lou Whitaker from Rainier. So we're always meeting these crazy. I don't even know why I told you that guy now. So anyway, I'm so tired.
No, it's cool. You know his name?
No, I don't know his name, but I'm learning it as we go. He's gathering me more respect.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense. He sees me carrying for the trail.
So you see him often?
Yes, and he talked about a documentary about Jim and Lou Whitaker, and he said that he mentioned the date, and I knew the date.
Yeah.
So and the funny thing is that when I went to a mountaineering class, I talked with Lou Whitaker. So there's this connection, and we're gaining respect. But that's just the kind of people you meet on the trail. His recommendation was, he says, yeah, you're cool here, but he was telling me you got to go to this place called Crater Lake. Have you heard of this Crater Lake?
No, where's that at?
He said, I haven't Googled it yet. Now I sound like a moron on but I am a moron, so it's fine. But then he said also Glacier National Park is another one. He said, those were the progressions. He said, this stuff's great here, but you got to go up there and see these places. And one of my best friends, who I've talked about before.
Crater Lake is in
Oregon?
Oregon.
Yeah, okay. I've heard of it. I thought it was there, but anyway, he said there, and then he said Glacier. Glacier's my best friend, one of my best friends. That's where him and his wife just went. I mean, the guy who hiked from Oregon or Washington and met me at Mount Whitney, that guy. He was also a drummer in the 70s. Rock band. So nice guy. But anyway, so this is what that guy on the trail suggested. So I think it would just be cool to take the time to just
head up there, huh?
Well, if you had the money and the time and just no stress.
And those type of trips are not very, very expensive. I mean,
it's not expensive, but if you want to do them a whole year worth.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what I would want to do.
Okay.
You want to go. Well, no, but why not? I'd like to go all south, like head toward Georgia, and then come back to the north, like Montana.
Yeah.
And I've never been to Wyoming.
Me neither.
We always thought about going to the Grand Teton from Colorado when we climbed, but
I thought of bison. I don't know why I thought of bison when he said Wyoming, but I'm sure there's bison there. But it was cool seeing them over there in Utah. No, you could. The place that we stopped before that.
The bison burger.
No, I wouldn't have mind. But the spot where they picked you up for the Jeep tour, they were doing these bison, kind of interacting with the bison there that they have on that ranch. And then you could feed the bison. They're like, you get on the back of a pickup truck and then like just
probably not a burger, right?
No, there's big old stacks of hay that they have, and you kind of just, like you just toss the hay out as it's driving as the bison are following you.
Oh, really?
Crazy. Yeah. We had an opportunity to do that. They asked us if we
What's the difference in a bison and a buffalo?
I don't know.
I mean, is one bred with a part cow though? I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know.
The hell of a question.
That's
like Jeopardy stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, really, not. I don't have the answer. I'm just
Oh
saying.
well, Buffalo. But Buffalo. Let's see. You're right. Let me see.
I mean, I hope I'm right. That sounds awesome, but it's just guessing. Whatever.
Maybe it was Buffalo. Maybe they were on Bison because they look very similar, don't they?
Yeah, but one is crossed. There's a difference in them. I thought, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Maybe it's the
I might have
Bison.
heard.
I don't know. I don't know. Either one of these, whichever one it was.
It's supposed to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're huge. They're gigantic animals, and they're pretty cool seeing them out in the ranges. But we did Zion. Did a couple of trails. Went to Bryce. Did the whole Jeep off-roading thing, which is probably I think the highlight of the weekend. And then came back and did a stop in Vegas. Stood out in Vegas, and it was pretty interesting.
Where'd you stay?
The Mirage.
So this is the first time you've been there since pre-COVID?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It was pretty interesting.
Well, was there? Tell me. A lot of people don't know what's going on over there.
So the city is not nearly as crowded as it once was. I mean, it's very.
Was there deals? Was it cheaper because of the less amount of people? Did you find anything good?
I didn't see any deals in terms of the rooms. Yes, the rooms are cheap. You could get some good rooms for cheap. But gambling, there's no shields and all that stuff, so you can just.
You have to wear a mask.
You have to wear a mask inside. And I saw a lot of people actually wearing the mask outside too. And I'm wondering if it was more of just the convenience of it, or the inconvenience of having to take it off and on, so they just leave it on while they're outside too.
Or they were unattractive.
Yeah, yeah.
I have found the mask to be wonderful. It's taken years off me. I'm not going back. I'm just going to raise it higher and higher.
Yeah.
Where it'll just be slits.
Yeah. You have to wear one indoors. And really, the only thing noticeably different was the lack of the amount of people.
Okay.
A lot of the gaming tables not used.
Question: comparatively, 20% less than last time you were there. I mean, how many left?
A normal weekend in Vegas.
And I don't go there, so tell me what you think.
It's like a little less than you would go on a Monday in Vegas, or Tuesday in Vegas. We went on a Tuesday in Vegas, and there's not that many people there anyway. Even on pre-COVID. But it was even.
How about, did you walk outside down the strip at all?
Yeah, we did. Is there
a lot of people there?
No. I said, I don't know what the percentage is in terms of occupancy over these hotels. It can't be that high.
Well, it's not high anywhere in the world right now. So,
but aside from wearing the mask, there's hand sanitizers everywhere. Which is kind of cool and convenient, where you don't really, and a lot of the now in your care packages where they give you in your hotel rooms, and some of them like Mirage, they give you a little baggie, they give you a mask, hand sanitizer, and little stylus to kind of touch buttons like in the elevator.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the hand sanitizer. I mean, it's high alcohol. It has a high alcohol rate. I drink this. I'm living on that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's cheaper than beer.
Do you like? My brother's a big whiskey guy, but so he brought one over on the weekend, and it's called Screwball, and it's a peanut butter whiskey.
I love peanut butter, but
you love peanut butter. So this one is sweet. I don't know if you'd like sweet alcohol.
I like it to hurt.
Okay. I don't mind. I like a little bit in the between.
Because I'm into suffering, so it works out better for me.
This one is less hurt and more sweet. But it's
I don't have. What it reminds me of is that I don't really drink tons of whiskey, to be honest with you. And if I drink it's always 99% is Jameson, just my deal. But if it's being sweet, it reminds me of in high school and college there was this stuff called Sweet Comfort.
Oh yeah, no, Southern Comfort.
Southern Comfort, and it was.
I don't do Southern Comfort. Why? Because I had a
you
bad.
You can guzzle it, but you pay on a level that is
you pay
cancer,
especially when it comes back up. That's when you don't want to deal with it. No, that's the worst. It's the worst.
That was back in the old days. So no, I wouldn't have. And truth is, it would be cool to try it, but it's not something that I would order.
I'm probably gonna get a bottle at the house here, but if you ever come over, I'll pour you a shot. But really,
that's how I beat COVID, by the way. A shot and you're good.
Yes, I kept myself healthy too that way. But when I say it's sweet, I mean I don't say just like a hint of like peanut butter, or no, I'm talking about straight up melted candy bar sweet.
Okay, well, I
And
gotta, okay, well, let me tell you
it
what.
will shock you how sweet it is.
I have eaten, because in my cookies I use the best chocolate,
Yeah.
Italian French. I will say that I would say it would be a safe bet that I've eaten more chocolate chips than I put in cookies in 8 years. I mean, like, truth is, I'll probably go over now and just I eat them by the handfuls. It's
Yeah.
just terrible. But
Yeah.
so I might like that, but there's just something. I don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you what. I'll try it and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. But for me, it's nice every once in a while. But yeah, I like the hurt too. I like. I need a little bit more of that
That way
kick
you
to
don't
it.
feel so bad for sinning if you're
Exactly.
paying
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you,
Yeah.
if and with Southern Comfort, you did pay for it. It
Oh
was
yeah.
the
Yeah.
ultimate
That traumatized me right there. Yeah. All right. So
But some
quickly.
people drink the fire and this
Oh,
cinnamon stuff.
Fireball. Yeah. I don't like it. No, it's not my thing.
I said, yeah. Okay. So anyway, what are you watching?
Um, let's see. Okay, TV
This is more
shows.
of an outdoor
Yeah,
travel
this
show.
is more of a travel show episode, but
And I
as
haven't
far
been watching myself tons because I have been hiking massively for the trip. So anyway, go ahead.
me neither. I would say forest TV shows, Hard Knocks with the Chargers and the Rams. That's on HBO. Um, Euphoria. I started watching.
Is
It's on
that with Gaia, right?
Zendaya. Yeah,
I was thinking that.
it's a good it's a good show. It's in terms of it's deals with like high school kind of kids.
It kind of, because of the heavy situation.
It's heavy.
It kind of, and because my wife's a high school teacher and I don't have
Yeah.
anything to do, it just seems like
It,
something that I won't watch personally.
no, no,
You know,
no, it's even beyond my age range a little bit because it's like I get the partying and I get the drug use and I get a lot of especially with the whole social media and some of the stuff that goes on with teenagers nowadays. I get it, but this is like kicked up like times 100. So this is like
you know what? Truth is,
every
I
incident.
think that girl is a superstar
Oh,
myself.
she's great in this
I mean,
show.
no, I mean
I think she's great.
no, I mean, I think in the right project. I mean, you're
Yeah,
talking about someone who will grow into be a
yeah.
phenomenal actor. So
I'm
I
looking.
think that's great.
I'm looking forward to seeing her in the remake of Dune. They're doing. She's a like one of the leads in that. Her and the
I
guy that
remember when Dune came out originally. I went
yeah
to the theater. I was like, "This is the dude." He was from the show, The Crazy Show. The lead was from the
was it Twin
show.
Peaks?
Yeah, and I was like, I just, I just
Yeah,
couldn't
the
do it.
main lead
So hopefully she brings it up to a good level.
the main lead is
Who's
that young.
directing it?
Oh, I think it looks good. Who's directing it? I have to look at it. I don't think it. I don't know what James Mangold is coming into my mind, but I don't think it's him. Um, the one who's a lead who plays that character is did you ever watch The King on Netflix with that young boy and Robert Pattinson play is in the movie. He plays like the French king. It just came out. It's this young actor. I forgot his name.
No, but text it to me the
Okay.
title because my wife would be totally interested in that
Oh,
also.
I think you'll enjoy the movie.
Is it a movie or series?
It's a movie.
Okay.
The actor is Timothy Chalamet. Chalamet.
Oh, yes, yes. He was nominated for an Oscar
Yeah,
already. Yeah.
that kid's good.
No,
So,
no. He's the new generation of good actor.
oh yeah, yeah,
Not the look actor, but no, he's the man.
with talent.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
I
So,
saw that movie with him and Steve Carell about the drug addiction.
oh yeah. So
Yeah.
he's the lead in Dune.
Yeah,
So,
he no, and he was also in that movie that my wife had the small part in the
Ladybird.
yeah,
He was
Lady,
on Ladybird. Yeah,
right?
he was. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's very good, excellent.
So I watched Euphoria, Hard Knocks, um, Wedding Singer, Adam Sandler. Which I love that movie. Haven't seen that movie in a while, so I watched that.
I love
But
Who's the woman leading that again?
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, they did another movie together. What 50?
Yeah, they
Days
did. They did like 3.
You know what?
Oh, no, actually no, just 2. 51st Dates. Yeah.
I really have always liked her. You know, she's from the royal family of Hollywood, the Barrymore. You know that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I haven't seen her from. She just seems like a cool person for some
Watch
reason.
watch her on Norm Macdonald's talk show that he has on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
I'll send you a link. She does an episode on there.
I haven't heard her in person in decades.
Wasn't
she? She was in ET, right?
Yeah. She was in ET.
Okay,
yeah. Watch her in that show. It's good. Like it's like a candid interview, and they're just like, Norm Macdonald. You can't be like a regular interview with Norm Macdonald leading it. So
because he's not a normal person. So.
What else?
Send me the link on that because I'm interested, and we'll put that up also on the blog. What else you got for me?
That's it. I think The Departed. I watched that again. Wedding Singer, Euphoria, Hard Knocks. There's probably one other I forgot, but what have you been watching?
Well, I'm gonna end up with Terms of Endearment because we both watched this film.
Yeah. Now I haven't seen it for a while, but you definitely.
I've spent some time on it. Okay, so I finished Narcos season 3. Everybody's dead, and I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I really thought it was. I have to say, it's might be my favorite right now, only because of the conflict with the security officer taking him down.
Yeah.
I went back to the Valley because of Yosemite, and we also got another pass to go back in December on the 10th of October. I don't know how it'll work out. I watched Valley Uprising again. It's the documentary about the climbing, but it's worth watching because it's on the level of a Ken Burns, and the music going from the 60s up through the 80s of rock and roll and the manipulation. Yeah. One of my favorite, and I'm very inspired by Yosemite right now. Now, because of that, though, one of the climbers featured in Yosemite, a guy named Dan Feldman. He was part of the Stone Monkeys in the 70s, the drugs. He put out a documentary called The Rapture of Soloing on Acid. And
that doesn't sound safe.
It does. Well, if you fall, you don't feel it, but
or you fall into another dimension. Yeah.
But he pretty much documented that era of the 70s on film and also on camera, and some of the great guys like John Baccar, who was the first guy to do free solo. He's gone from free soloing. Dean Potter, who died jumping off with parachutes. But it covers this era. It inspires me, and it's nice to see black and white. There's something about a black and white photographer that makes it more nostalgic. We automatically think of the past. So I highly recommend that. And then so I rented The Tax Collector.
Okay.
Have you seen the movie?
I haven't.
You saw the trailer, though. You're familiar with it.
I saw the trailer. I saw shots. Yeah, I saw Shia LaBeouf's tattoo.
Got the tattoo exactly. It's by David Ayer.
How do you go about your career with a massive tattoo like that? Do they just digitally remove it in makeup, or how do you?
I'm sure
never take your shirt off.
I think a lot of these stars have tattoos. They get covered up for different things. They can even manipulate it now, obviously digitally. But in the old days, I'm sure it was heavy makeup because 35 mil film wasn't digital 4000K. So
because that's a massive full-on chest to belly tattoo. So it's insane.
I love the guy. So the screenwriter, David Ayer, he's written U-571, The Fast and Furious, Training Day, End of Watch, Fury, Suicide Squad, and he's doing the remake of The Wild Bunch.
Oh, nice.
Directed by Mel Gibson, which is an interesting choice. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and I don't know who's in it or whatever, but anyway, it was announced that was the famous 60s film with Ernest Borgnine, Wim Holden.
Yeah.
It's written, directed by Sam Peckinpah, who pretty much brought violence into film. His films were all X-rated, and then had to be manipulated for the MPAA so they could be passed into the theaters. He's directed a few films: End of Watch, Fury, Suicide Squad. So this is the second project with Shia LaBeouf. The movie, to me, it's set up good versus evil. I'm not going to go into it because it really hasn't been released ton. It's good, but it's a little cliche. And really, the story, Shia LaBeouf, his role is minimal.
Okay.
It's David Sato who plays the lead character, which is phenomenal because he plays a very evangelical Christian who works for the cartel. His wife is just incredible. Cynthia Carmona, she just is going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
I mean, she just has a presence without saying anything. And it's not about being pretty. It's about there's something internal that's very powerful. It has George Lopez in it.
Okay.
From a stand-up, whatever. Would I recommend it? It's a, if you can see it, yeah, it's worth the buzz. Anything with Shia LaBeouf, I love that guy.
Yeah.
In fact, on our Instagram, I put the picture where he wore the paper bag at the Berlin Film Festival. Yeah. He's out of control. He had a very tumultuous upbringing, obviously. Yeah. But he picks interesting roles. He's an activist. He's an artist. You probably hooked on to him with the movie Holes, I would imagine.
You know what? No.
That was before you, right?
That was. I was probably
my daughter would be that era.
Yeah, but I knew of him from Holes. But I think for me, when he really burst onto the scene was probably from Transformers. Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? So, he started doing stand-up at 10 years old.
Really? I don't know.
He used such vulgar language that was his deal. And because of that, he got, through the Yellow Pages, an agent. And that's how he got going. He also went to art school, high school. Parents were hippies.
And I think if people haven't seen it, they should watch probably Honey Boy. Because it kind of is based off, he wrote and directed and starred in it, and it's kind of like loosely based on his life.
Biography.
It's almost a straight up biography of
I like a lot of his movies,
especially recently too. He's been on a good roll. He's been kind of got his act together a little bit. He's been doing a lot of horses and stuff.
I did see half of the one Peanut and the one with what is it? Peanut butter.
Well, with the Down syndrome kid?
Yeah, it's just, I didn't see all of it, but it was very interesting. Same. The star of the movie is the
kid.
Yeah. The kid. I thought he was phenomenal.
They had Dakota Johnson in it too?
Yeah. So, anyway, so I spent a lot of time on like that. I really thought it was a pretty good movie, but yet it seemed to miss some points, and it seemed like in a way I was watching End of Watch.
Okay.
There was, I don't know if it was, obviously it's the same conflict, but
same people involved too. Almost, right?
Yeah, so kind of, and also the movie with it's called Harsh Times.
Yeah.
It's the one with it kind of has the same feel. So maybe I'm inundated with his work. Anytime, but the girl was
David
great.
Do Harsh
it's
Times?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he did. Oh, okay. So
it kind of is right. It kind of
very similar. Yeah.
But Fury, great war movie.
Oh, great.
Brad Pitt. Yeah. So, and when you look at his writing, he's done good work. The director. So I would watch it, but I would watch it not going to the movie theater, or I rented it.
Yeah.
So, and then the last
download. Yeah.
I watched that I really love was Terms of Endearment.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just, I can't even watch the clips. It makes me sad. It's by James Brooks. It's 1983. I mean, it took Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress. It just is a phenomenal film. You're dealing with some of the icons of Hollywood here.
Yeah.
I mean, the director himself, I mean, he did Mary Tyler Moore, Rhoda, Lou Grant, Taxi, and developed and was involved with The Simpsons, the longest running show
Yeah.
forever, because Matt Groening gave him a cartoon during the shooting of Terms of Endearment. He took that to Tracy Ullman. They made a short in History is History.
History is
I mean,
history.
but his producing credits, this goes on. I mean, everything you see in Hollywood, he's been involved in.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies of his was Broadcast News with Holly
Oh,
Hunter
yeah.
and William Hurt. It's his stuff is emotional. Terms of Endearment has Jack Nicholson, Shirley MacLaine, Jeff Daniels, and Deborah Winger. Now, at the Oscars, Jack Nicholson competed against John Lithgow from the movie. He won.
Mm-hmm.
And Shirley MacLaine competed against Deborah Winger and won. Shirley MacLaine goes back to Broadway.
Yeah.
In Bob Fosse's movie. She's a superstar. Her
Oh,
brother's Warren Beatty. And there's moments in this film that are so magical. I told Tamika, because she lives with her mom and their relationship, I said, you need to watch this movie.
Yeah.
This movie transcends every person.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And when you look at people, Jack Nicholson, 12 Oscar nominations, 3 wins.
He's the. I was watching him in Departed, and he's just so.
What's your favorite? Okay, what's your favorite Jack Nicholson movie then?
I mean, so I like him as a kid. Probably got introduced to him as the Joker in Batman.
Okay, and it's funny. I made a note about that. So
yeah,
you being
as a comedic role, I liked him in that movie where he played the music mogul, and he was a Diane Keaton. And they fall in love. I think it's as good as it gets. I really liked him. I like him in comedic roles. I think he's such a great comedic. I think he's an all-around great actor. And then probably The Departed, but I'd have to go through a bunch of other stuff. I'm sure there's a few others.
Okay, so
yeah, those are some of my 3 favorites.
Easy Rider would be one of them for me. Going back to the Peter Fonda, Dennis Hopper, the whole 68 Harleys across the country. Terms of Endearment, the scene where he has to break up with Shirley MacLaine.
It's Something's Got to Give. Sorry, Something's Got to Give.
Yeah,
the one with Diane Keaton.
No, As Good as It Gets is the one with Kinnear.
Yeah,
and Helen Hunt.
It's Helen Hunt.
Which he won the Oscar for.
Yeah, yeah. And but I like Something's Got to Give. I don't know. It's kind of like a little cheesy romantic one, but I just like the whole dynamic between them two with Diane Keaton.
Oh, I agree.
And Keanu Reeves in there. He's like the young guy that falls in love with Diane Keaton. I don't know. I just love that movie. It's fun.
Well, I mean, that's what film is,
Yeah.
And, so
Mars Attacks. Mars Attacks.
What?
with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. Question though.
Yeah.
So when I was living in Chicago, the Batman came out, where Jack Nicholson played the Joker.
Okay.
Now, for us, we had not seen these kind of movies. I mean, we saw Batman on TV, but it really was, and the director, Timothy Burton, he has a very visual feel in his films.
Very dark, very cartoonish.
What did you think of, from you reading comic books, and now don't think about the Jokers now, Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix. It seemed, I liked Jack Nicholson's portrayal because it was menacing, but carried enough comic underline. Yeah. What do you think?
No, I think his is probably one of the best. I know. I for me, it's one of my favorites. There's different. Everybody has their own. What's cool about the Joker is that every actor has almost interpreted it differently, and even in comic books, they've done.
3 of the best have been him, Ledger, and Phoenix. They all took a different feel, though.
Took a different, even back to like Cesar Romero or something like that. Like, completely different. They all could be completely different.
In a way.
Yeah, it was very comedic.
He was a comic, so so kind of where it had.
Jack took more of the mobster type. He did his is more of considered like the mobster gangster type, and then you have Heath Ledger's was like Heath Ledger's was like the anarchist psycho, and then you have like I mean, I don't think Jared Leto really got his full due on that character, really. But
well, because it was edited in a certain time, and we know who it was.
It was an
for.
ensemble cast. It wasn't like the Joker and Batman. It was.
I heard they cut a lot of parts.
They cut a lot of it. I felt kind of bad for him because they didn't do a direct. I don't think they're planning on doing director's cut of that movie. And then I think with Joaquin Phoenix, he played like that loner. I think person that just kind of loses his mind.
Was I mean that my wife and her. I mean, she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
She said that she felt like that was one of her top performances she's ever seen on film. Joaquin Phoenix.
It's crazy. He's really good.
Just stinking. It really morphed into Heath Ledger. Yeah. So in other words, that director from The Hangover, what he did was spectacular. Yeah. But Jack Nicholson, our comic books were not the comic books of you. We didn't have the graphic. We had a different. I mean, it was pow and pop.
Yeah, this was a darker take on the character.
Rich for us, for you also to go. No, you didn't see it at the theater, did you?
No. When was that? 89. When did that come out? 90.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was around 90. Right?
That was before my daughter was born, so yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. I can't remember. I saw it at the theaters. I can't remember, but that was one of the first exposures to Batman. But I think the character took a darker tone in the '80s from like the earlier days. It took a darker tone in the '80s, so it's not a big surprise, I guess, if you're looking at some of those.
I remember I knew a guy who was in the comics.
Yeah,
and we talked about this also before, but I remember seeing The Dark Knight when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the older guy, and it was very dark. And it was different than what we had seen.
Frank Miller's take.
Okay, so it kind of it made a right turn
on
the storyline and became more darker. So I just, I heard Jack Nicholson made a fortune off that Batman, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't take a salary. He took the rear end.
Oh,
I heard it was just staggering, 40, 50 million back then. And so
those Tim Burton,
and another one of my,
they're great, man. I think so. I think they're great. The Tim Burton Batman films are amazing, especially when you compare them to
he was married to Helen Bonham Carter was his wife.
Yeah.
And they lived in different houses, living next to the houses were in different houses, but were on the same street together. Yeah. So anyway, which both of them seem like pretty intense, and I mean, we could do a show on Burton, especially Edward Scissorhands was one of my. I got to tell you, with Johnny Depp was one of my favorite movies too of his.
Yeah,
talk about Timothy Burton.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then Shirley MacLaine. I mean, when Bob Fosse, in the old days we had the term, we've talked about it before, the triple threat. We talked about Hugh Jackman last week. Shirley MacLaine could dance, sing, and she's always busy. And I'm going to recommend everyone to watch Terms of Endearment. That final scene, I mean, I think it's the perfect movie. Roger Ebert said there's not one thing he would change. I highly recommend it, and what it is, like we talk about all the time. When I feel the exact same from the first time I saw a film, and so 83 it came out. It's how many years is it now? 27 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I feel exactly the same. And you take life.
It came out in 83.
1983. 83.
30,
93, 203, 213.
No, they're more.
37.
I was going to say, because I was born in 85. That came out before I was born.
So I've lived a lot of life in 37 years. And I feel exactly the same. Yeah. And that lady is never stopped. And look where all these people came from. Well, not Jack Nicholson. He came from California, but everybody else was from stage.
Yeah.
And so it's a great movie. And I mean, Shirley MacLaine goes back to Billy Wilder being starring in a movie with Jack Lemmon, and then coming all the way forward. So if you think about her as an actress. And
Right.
there's some scenes in this movie that just are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the acting, and Danny DeVito's in it. He's one of the suitors. He's in
Mm.
the background all the time. I love it. That's going to be my pick of the week for me.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's a great film.
It
And
is.
do you think anything coming out you're looking forward to?
No, I'm gonna check out. Well, as far as theater wise, probably the James Bond I'm looking forward to.
I heard they're going to recut the they're putting new trailers out that are recut now.
Yeah, yeah. I think they just released a new trailer for James Bond. Haven't checked it out yet though.
Do you
Yeah.
think people are going to go? I did. I was. Do you think
theaters?
people are really going to go back to movies?
Not for a while.
Lazy in our house.
Not for a while, but if you give people the chance to at least go and socialize again, yeah, it's just gonna take some time. It'll bounce back. People are gonna want to get back to.
My sister
their
said
lives.
that in Michigan they're opening the gyms after
I
Labor
believe
Day.
that. I think we just opened up the salons and barbershops again. No, that's what I heard.
Not where I live.
No, I heard it's like limited capacity, but they're gonna open it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I
I
think
thought
they're
it was
they're getting pretty close to opening up Disneyland again too. So that's gonna be interesting to see.
But I don't even worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm at a hotel, dude. I have to be safe. I live in a different world, so it's not like just going to the store and putting gloves on.
Shit, I just drove through 3 states and stopped in Utah,
Arizona, it's heavily out of control.
Arizona, Utah, and Vegas. I've been there, so it's I don't know. You take the necessary precautions. You hand sanitize. You wash your hands. You wear your mask. Don't touch too many things. You should be okay. Jameson.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. All right. This is another good show.
Anyway,
man.
but yeah, so good stuff. Good stuff to watch. Till I get done with this climb with Moses, my TV's limited because, and also I'm working on this, trying to finish up this book. I really want it done by Christmas. That's my freaking goal. So I'm working that, but so I have an opportunity to go to Yosemite, but I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
But I really, man, I'm telling you, if you haven't been there either, I got blessed. I went at the perfect.
Yosemite's great. I haven't been since I was a kid. Remember we talked about
you should go up there again.
Yeah, people should go. I mean, I plan to go. I plan to do one more trip, like the Zion trip, before the end of the year. So I'm not sure exactly. We haven't decided yet on what to do, but Yosemite might be the next one. I'm not sure yet. So.
All right. Well, listen, man. Have
good
a good
talking
day.
to you. Yeah, good talking to you. Enjoy your weekend.
Terms of Endearment, everybody.
Terms of Endearment for
Watch
everybody.
it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if I have any recommendations. I mean, aside from the things I've been watching, you guys check them out. I don't know. Oh, Drive was another. I was watching Drive too. Love it.
What?
Drive with Ryan Gosling. I love that movie.
Man.
Yeah.
That movie is the music.
Oh,
What's your
music.
Okay? So we'll take 1 second. What's your favorite scene in Drive?
The opening scene. The opening scene is my favorite. When he's doing the
with the
just
guys?
the music. Yeah, with the guys, he's doing the run. He's driving down the freeway.
Game,
stops at I think it's a Laker game or a Clippers. No, he stopped at a Clipper game. Stops at the Clipper game, parks in the structure, and then walks out, leaves the guys there. And then it cuts to the music of the opening credits. Oh man, that first 5-10 minutes. So this is my favorite part.
I think the movie is
great, man. I love the movie.
I think the actors you got in this. I mean, look who you got. And one of my favorite, I mean, obviously the Breaking Bad, connection. But my favorite is Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
You never see him play a bad guy, ever. Yeah. He's in broadcast news, and he's the comedic folly to Helen Hunt. I mean, he's just the comedian guy. And he plays vicious. But my favorite scene, is when he says, do you want to see something special?
Oh, yeah.
The girl, and they're going up the viaduct and the music. I love that song anyway. You're right, man. That is a phenomenal. Now, what else did that guy do? What other movies has that director done?
Oh, quite a few. He's done. He's one of my favorites in terms of like kind of the independence side.
Did he do the one about the drummer?
No, he did Valhalla with Mads Mikkelsen.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking of something else. Okay, what are you talking
He did Only God Knows, I think.
See, that one wasn't as good as Drive.
No, that was a follow-up. No, I thought so too. He did Neon Demon.
Okay.
I thought that was have you seen Neon Demon? Check out Neon Demon. This guy obviously does a lot of scenes where they're more visual and music. But it has like this. It's like this horror movie in the world of modeling. You should check it out. Check it. It's a pretty twisted movie. It's good though. Visually and music and all that, and the cast is pretty good. Got small little cameos of people like Keanu Reeves makes a small little cameo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a very interesting movie. I wouldn't say it's like it's an amazing blockbuster movie, but it's a very, if you like Drive or any Only God Knows or any of those movies, it's right up your alley. So Neon Demon's a recommendation for me then, or Drive. You know.
All right. Well, yeah, Drive is just,
yeah. If people haven't seen Drive, I love that movie.
Well done. And you know what, Ryan Gosling, man, I love that guy too because he just does what he wants.
Yeah.
You never hear about him.
No.
And I love that. I don't want to know about people. Just do your, and he picks good roles. I think he's a phenomenal. Did you ever see this? I can't think of the name. He's the high school teacher. He's the drug addict, and he buys drugs from
Hap Nelson.
Oh,
yeah,
killer. That's when I started. Really noticing him.
Yeah.
Saying, wow, and then Drive. I love the whole stunt car thing. I love you think he's the cop at first, or you think he's doing this, and I just thought it was visually well done. Yeah. Great music, and
we could talk more on that next episode. Jake, we could do Ryan Gosling. We could do the director. He's got this weird kind of name, Winfro. I forgot his name. I don't know, but we could cover those guys, man. There's some good stuff there.
Right on. Good stuff, man. All right, well, listen, have a good day, everybody. Have a good day, Josh, and have a safe Labor Day.
All right, man. You too. Take care.